We are in the city of Poznań. This city has been so surprising to me, and I believe it might be the best city in Poland. Let's talk about it. I'm a legal alien, I'm an Englishman in New York. A lot of people told me that Poznań would be very similar to Krakow, and I can see that, I guess, around the old town and here in Citadel Park, which is actually very, very nice. This is one of the things that I love the most about Poland, that there are just beautiful parks everywhere to walk around. But because this place doesn't have the same building ordinance as Krakow does, you know, like Krakow, you're only able to build up to 6 levels, and here they have proper buildings. It actually kind of feels a little bit more like Łódź, a little bit more developed than Łódź, a little bit more greenery, and a more of a college town. Something I noticed right off the bat is that this place is quite clean. Yes, there is graffiti just like most Polish cities, but there seems to be a good amount of street art. Like the street art to the graffiti balance is pretty good, where you walk around and you see a lot more street art than you do graffiti, at least so far. Just kidding, I lied. There's a lot of graffiti. Seems to be in like the rundown places. Now I'm walking around the old town, and this old town reminds me a lot of the old town from Wrocław. It also reminds me of the old town from Lviv, Ukraine. Very similar colors, very similar vibe, very similar overall infrastructure, or the way that the city is set up. Closer to Lviv than it is to Wrocław. So after asking ChatGPT about it, Poznań was destroyed in the war. So that's why a lot of these buildings, they kind of have a good mix of like new but also reconstructed. Like this part specifically feels like it's more of the original buildings, but if you look at those ones, those look completely brand new, just like Warsaw. So I think those are the new ones. Yeah, so I'm walking to the main mall here, which is Stary Browar, and they have this really beautiful park right in front of the mall, which I think is nice. And then if you look at the buildings, you have these brick buildings as well, which is why I feel like it really is so comparable to Łódź. It's like a mix of all the cities that I've been to in Poland, which I find very, very interesting. Now I'm at the top end of the city, and this park is called Citadel Park. It's a very, very big park. You know, the more that I walk around the city, the more I really like it. Yes, I must admit, it is very similar to Krakow. And it is quite touristy. Maybe it's just the season how it is right now. It's nice. It has a really good balance of like nature and the city and a lot of things. So far I'm really enjoying it. Wow. Look at this park. What incredible. This is an amazing place to take your dog. Holy heck. This park is crazy nice. Citadel Park. Super clean, super wide and expansive. There's a lot of really cool monuments and things to see too. And it kind of reminds me of Kyiv in Ukraine. If you know, like around the bridge in the big arc area, you also have like a similar open area like this, and then you have the big monument in the middle. Super impressive actually. Today I'm here with my friend.
Hi, my name is Dezu.
When I get DMs from subscribers, I meet up with them all the time. If you guys want to show me around the city, just let me know. So one of the things that I notice about Poznań compared to the other cities is that there is so much greenery here. The parks here are absolutely splendid. They're all super clean and organized. In Warsaw, because everybody's in the capital and it's super crowded, you can only really buy regular apartments. But here I feel like there's a pretty good balance of you get buildings with apartment buildings, but you also get a lot of like these single family homes too.
In Poland, I really find it difficult to make friends since we are all so closed.
And you guys are even like that with each other, right?
Yeah, but I get it because we're just minding our own businesses.
But that's how it is in East Asia as well. Like in Japan, it's even worse, I think. Even here in Poznań, you think people are like that. People have been quite nice to me.
As long as you don't have like a common topic or don't do some stuff together, it's really hard to get along.
So you have to like go to events and do activities in order to meet people. But that's a big difference between, for example, like in Latin America, everybody's friendly, but you can't trust anybody, and that's the problem. At least here, everyone minds their own business, and when you make a friend, it's like an actually good friend.
Depends.
Okay, so I stopped by a nearby cafe because I needed to do some work, but also I needed some Wi-Fi. Trying to find Wi-Fi can be really annoying sometimes, especially if you are traveling. But thankfully, my friends at eSIM.io have you guys covered. I love how easy it is to use the app app, all you gotta do is pick the place that you're traveling, and you can even pick specific areas like Europe or the Balkans or Asia. I really like their pay as you go feature as well, because all you gotta do is top up your balance. As you go from country to country, it'll automatically find the best network for you, so it's a lot less hassle. They also have a lot of deals. For example, right now in Europe, you can get 50% off of your plan. After a long flight especially, it's just kind of a mess having to go find the SIM card and not having data to go to your Airbnb. Make sure you have the app eSIM.io on your phone. Once that's set up, all you gotta do is go in the app, buy the plan that you need, boom. Very easy and convenient. If you guys wanted to try eSIM.io, you can scan this QR code. I'll also put the details in the pinned comment and description. You can also use code WES5 to get $5 for free just for starting the app. So before coming to Poznan, one of the things that I heard about this place is that they have really good Asian food. And in many places around in Poland, you have good Vietnamese food, you have good Thai food, a lot of good Indian food, Korean food, Japanese food. But it's very hard to find good Chinese food. Here in the center, there are a few Chinese restaurants and I wanted to try it. And they also have hot pot, which is surprisingly really good. The flavor is surprisingly delicious. I got it in beef with cumin. Normally, you can put beef or lamb and it's not breaded, it's just like regular meat. But the breading is really nice. The flavor hits just right. There's like a saltiness in Chinese cuisine that it's very hard for a lot of people to imitate, but I feel like they got it right here. I think it's in the chili oil or something, but honestly, it's like a 9 out of 10. And the weather was so nice like 2 hours ago. And now look at it, it's all freaking overcast again. Hopefully before the end of the day, the clouds will go away, but man, Poland. Architecture of the city is absolutely crazy though. All the universities that you have around the city, they have a lot, I think that's the law building you were saying, right? Yeah.
It's all over the city.
It used to be the palace, but now it's the cultural center. Man, the architecture is so nice. And the cool thing is that it's equally as nice during the day and at night. I think one of the most interesting parts about this city is that it's a very liberal city in a lot of ways. Compared to a lot of the other places that I've been here in Poland, you can tell that the culture here is a little bit more open. Something that I noticed is just walking around, the people here are actually very, very nice. They are not afraid to smile at you, as opposed to many other Polish cities where people are just frowning all the time. A lot of times when people will even make the first move to smile at me first. Normally how it is like you do the Polish smile, you just give each other the head nod. My friend also told me that, you know, normally, especially around Christmas, and people only really wear black, but here people actually like putting a little bit of color into their outfits. So maybe they'll have the whole entire thing be black, and they'll have like a blue bag or an orange bag or something like that. If I were to compare it to some US cities, this to me feels like San Francisco or Portland of Poland. Because it's so west, it's very, very close to Germany, and I feel like a lot of the social culture reflects that. Because it's a college town, there's like an artful, youthful, creative spirit in the air that I think is quite amazing. And right here we're at the mall Poznań, which is like their biggest mall here, and you can look, they have this like beautiful art statue right in front of this mall. I've been walking around the mall, and to be honest, there's nothing too crazy about this mall. They have all the typical stores that you'll find pretty much in any mall here in Poland. And if I were to compare this mall to the other one, Citadel Browar, I think that one is way nicer, just in architecture with the stores that they have, the park in front of it. Something I notice a lot here in Poznań specifically, or maybe in Poland in general, but I think it's a lot more pronounced here. There seems to be a reversal of gender roles going on. And this might be also because of the super liberal culture. If you pay attention to everywhere that you go, you're gonna notice that it's mainly women working. Women working way more than men do. I think this dynamic exists in all of Poland that I've seen so far, but it's so interesting seeing that, especially even in the relationship dynamics, it seems that the women are the ones that are working hard and ambitious, leading the relationship, whereas the men are the ones that are a lot more for emotional support. Just pay attention, like if you walk around all of the malls, all of the stores, everything, pay attention to who's working. You're gonna see that it's majority women, and it's a very big difference, because if you go to like a Muslim country or maybe some Asian countries, you're gonna notice a pretty good mix of both men and women working. But here it seems like the women are the ones that are really working hard. Because Poznań is so liberal, I feel like it's a lot more heightened here. I think the best thing about the city though is the nature to building ratio. In Warsaw, there are a lot of parks that are integrated well into the city, but you still feel like you're in a city, almost like a concrete jungle, right? I feel like Poznan is a really good balance where it leads a little bit more towards the nature side. And I'm incredibly impressed by the amount of greenery and parks and how well organized the parks are here. I think that's what makes Poznan stand out compared to all of the other cities that I visited. I think Poland in general does a really good job of maintaining their nature, keeping the parks clean and very accessible to people. Citadel Park has to be the nicest park that I've seen in this country by far. I also like that it doesn't feel too busy, right? It is a bigger city in a lot of ways, and maybe it's because university hasn't started yet, so it's not like the most packed like it normally gets. There were certain times where some of the main streets had a lot of people. As far as European standards are concerned, it feels like you have a lot of room to breathe here. Even though the public transportation is more expensive here than it is in any other city that I've visited, actually. So that's, I guess, one of the downsides. One of the common complaints that I have about Poland is that the water quality here is actually pretty bad. Everybody wants to fight me on this, but because the water is so hard, I think that's one of the reasons why people age so quickly here and why people lose hair so much. I've never really lost hair ever in my life, and maybe it's because I'm 30 now, maybe that's why my hair is a little looser, but I swear there's something in the water that makes my skin react and I get a lot more dandruff, my hair is falling out more than normal, so I think people need to look into that. Here in Poznan, thankfully, the water quality, even though it's not the best, it's better than it is in Warsaw, and I really feel it in my skin. The older people here are also very, very nice. Yesterday I was hanging out, I think it was like Freedom Square or something like that, and they had dance classes for older people. Unlike other places in Poland, where the older people tend not to really smile at you, people here are very, very friendly and very smiley. It's an interesting mix because you see families around, but I don't feel like they're that common. It seems to be a mix of both university students and really old people. Maybe it's just the areas that I'm in. I'm trying to figure out where all the people my age are, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of them, to be honest. So I actually found the food in Poznan to be quite good. There's a lot of really good variety here. They have a lot of great Asian food. Very, very good. Wow. Even though it seems like all the best restaurants are around the old town, which is kind of normal in a lot of cities like this, I always find it funny too that when you go to Polish cities, it's always hard to find a really good Polish restaurant. And I think it's because people assume that if you want to get good Polish food, you just got to go to your family and get it from your grandma or your babcia or something. I'm happy to say that here, the international food, everything that I've tried has been excellent. So overall, I really enjoyed my time in Poznan. It's funny because I think objectively, it's one of the most beautiful cities that I've seen. However, I don't think it's a place that I could personally live. I think it's a bit too liberal for me. I didn't feel like I could call this place my home, if that makes sense. Just the vibe didn't match up with my energy. But if I had to give Poznan a rating objectively, I believe it is a 9 out of 10. One of the best cities I've been to so far here in Poland. I highly recommend you guys watch this video next, and I will see you on the next one.